Hello, friends. Before this month is over, there are two things about to happen to your money and your medications that almost nobody is talking about yet. And one of them could leave a real gap in your budget by the middle of next month, if no one warned you ahead of time. If you receive Social Security, SSI, or you're on Medicare, this affects you directly, and I haven't seen a single local news segment cover either one. Stick with me, because the first one sounds like good news on the surface, but it's actually hiding something you need to prepare for right now. Quick note before we get started. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here is personalized advice for your exact situation. What I'm sharing today comes straight from two official sources. The first is the Social Security Administration's own published payment calendar for 2026. The second is a brand new announcement directly from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, known as CMS. I'll walk you through exactly what each one says, what it means in plain English, and what I'd personally do if I were in your shoes. And if this kind of breakdown is useful to you, go ahead and subscribe now, because catching these changes before they catch you is the whole point of this channel. So here's how today is going to go. The first story is about a quirk in how payments are scheduled this July. And depending on which benefit you receive, it might mean something landing in your account that you weren't expecting. The second story is about a brand new program starting on July 1st that could bring the price of certain prescriptions down to just $50 a month. That second one sounds like pure good news, and in a lot of ways it is. But there's a catch buried in the fine print that I want you to hear before you get too excited. Let's start with the payment calendar, because this is the one with a deadline that's only a few weeks away. Here's something a lot of people don't realize about how Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, actually works. SSI payments go out on the first of every month, except when the first falls on a weekend or a federal holiday. When that happens, the Social Security Administration sends the payment out early, on the last business day before that weekend or holiday. This isn't a glitch or a mistake on anyone's part. It's just how the federal calendar rule has always worked. But here's where July 2026 gets interesting. August 1st this year falls on a Saturday. Because of that rule, the SSA's own payment calendar has August's SSI payment going out on July 31st, not in August at all. Which means if you receive SSI, you are scheduled to get two deposits in July. One on July 1st, which is July's regular payment, and another on July 31st, which is actually August's payment, just arriving a month early. And then, this is the part that catches people off guard every single time this happens. There is no SSI payment in August at all. Zero, because it already went out at the end of July. Now, I want to be clear about something important. If you only receive regular Social Security retirement or disability benefits, not SSI, this particular quirk doesn't apply to your payment dates. Your July checks land on their normal Wednesday schedule, just like always. But stick with me, because in just a minute, I'm going to show you something that affects every single Medicare beneficiary, no matter which benefit you receive. Now, if you receive SSI, I'd genuinely like to know, has this happened to you before? Where one month just felt different and you weren't sure why? Drop a comment and let me know, because I'd bet a lot of people watching this have experienced exactly this without ever knowing the reason behind it. Here's why this matters so much. That second deposit on July 31st is going to look, to a lot of people, like a bonus, like something extra showed up. And it's easy, especially if money's been tight, to treat that as found money and spend it on something you've been putting off. But that money isn't extra. It's August's rent. It's August's groceries. It's August's electric bill, arriving early. Picture this. Someone gets that July 31st deposit, feels a little relief, maybe pays down a credit card or helps out a grandkid with it. Then August 1st arrives, and nothing comes in, no payment. And now the bills that were due to be covered by that money have already been spent on something else. This is, without exaggeration, one of the most common causes of a sudden cash crunch for SSI recipients every single year this calendar quirk happens, and most people don't find out why until they're already in the middle of it. So here's the one thing I want you to do, today if you can. When that July 31st deposit lands, mentally label it August money, and don't touch it until August 1st arrives. Alright, now let's move to the second story, and this one's about your prescriptions. Starting July 1st, 2026, CMS is launching something they're calling the Medicare GLP-1 Bridge. If you've been paying attention to the news around medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, or Zepbound, you've probably heard these drugs can run well over $1,000 a month at retail without strong insurance coverage. Under this new Bridge program, eligible Medicare beneficiaries enrolled in a Part D prescription plan will be able to get certain GLP-1 medications for just $50 a month. No need to meet your deductible first. This program is scheduled to run from July 1st, 2026 through the end of December 2027. Now, here's the catch I mentioned earlier, and it's actually two catches. First, this is officially described as a demonstration program, which means it's temporary by design. It's not a permanent change to how Medicare covers these drugs going forward. Second, not everyone on Medicare automatically qualifies just because they turn 65 or already have a prescription. Eligibility depends on your specific Part D plan, your diagnosis, and which exact medication you've been prescribed. The drugs covered under this program are specifically the ones approved for weight management. So, if you're currently taking a GLP-1 medication for a different reason, your situation could look different. If you're currently on one of these medications, or your doctor's mentioned one to you recently, let me know in the comments which one. I'm curious how many of you this could actually apply to. So what should you actually do with this information? That's coming up in just a moment. But first, there's one more thing connecting these two stories together that I think might be the most important point in this whole video. And before I get to that, if you're finding this kind of breakdown helpful, the stuff that's buried in government press releases and payment calendars that nobody translates into plain English, this is exactly what this channel does every week. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Here's the connection. Both of these stories are really about the same underlying thing: timing. The SSI payment quirk is about money arriving at a different time than you'd expect. The GLP-1 program is about a cost change with an exact start date and an exact end date. And in both cases, the people who come out ahead are the ones who know the dates in advance and plan around them. And the people who get caught off guard are the ones who find out after the fact, when it's harder to fix. If you take one thing away from this video, I want it to be this. Write these two dates down. July 31st. That's the date your extra SSI deposit arrives, and it's already spoken for. July 1st. That's the date the new $50 GLP-1 program becomes available, and it's worth a call to your pharmacy or your Part D plan to ask whether your specific prescription qualifies. Now let me walk through a couple of mistakes I see people make with news like this, because avoiding these is honestly more valuable than the news itself. Mistake number 1. Assuming a new government program means automatic enrollment. It doesn't. With the GLP-1 Bridge, nothing happens for you automatically. You need to call your plan and ask whether they're participating and whether your medication is included. Mistake number 2. Treating an early or extra payment as a windfall instead of as a payment that simply arrived ahead of schedule. And mistake number 3, which I see constantly, waiting until the bill is due to figure out whether something has changed. The whole value of knowing about these dates weeks in advance is that you have time to plan instead of react. While we're looking ahead, here are 2 more dates worth keeping on your radar for later this year. In October, the Social Security Administration will announce the official cost of living adjustment for 2027. And based on inflation trends we've already seen this year, early estimates suggest it could be noticeably larger than this year's increase. I'll cover that the moment it's announced, so make sure you're subscribed for that one. And Medicare's annual open enrollment period runs from October 15th through December 7th. That's your window to review your Part D plan and specifically ask whether it participates in this new GLP-1 Bridge Program, since not every plan is required to. Let's bring this all together. If you receive SSI, You're scheduled to get 2 deposits in July and none in August. The second deposit is your August money, not a bonus, so don't spend it early. If you're on Medicare Part D, starting July 1st, there's a new program that could bring certain weight loss GLP-1 medications down to $50 a month, but you need to confirm with your plan whether you qualify. It doesn't happen automatically. Both of these have firm dates attached, which means both of them are things you can prepare for right now, before they happen instead of after. So here's my honest, practical advice. Today, mark July 31st on your calendar and write August money next to it. This week, call your Part D plan or your pharmacist and ask one simple question. Does my plan participate in the new Medicare GLP-1 Bridge Program, and does it cover my prescription? Those two small actions take maybe 15 minutes combined, and they could save you a genuinely stressful month. If a friend or family member receives Social Security, SSI, or Medicare, send them this video. There's a good chance they haven't heard either of these things yet. And for the SSI piece especially, a heads up now is worth a lot more than an explanation in August. That's the two big things changing for seniors this July. One's a calendar quirk that's easy to misread, and the other is a genuinely useful new program with a few strings attached. Neither one requires you to panic. Both of them just require you to know about them ahead of time, which, now that you've watched this, you do. Thanks for spending this time with me. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the bell so you're first to know when the next one drops. I'll see you in the next video.